What's up, guys? Eli here, back for another album review. Not something that I do super often, but I enjoy from time to time. So today we're going to be talking about Blackbraid II from the black metal band Blackbraid. Released just this year, July, I think it was July 23rd, something like that. And if you don't know much about Blackbraid, Blackbraid are a solo black metal band from Adirondack Mountains, New York, with John S. Krieger, aka Skagasawa, at the helm. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying I wrote this review before the recent controversy that you may or may not have heard about. Had I heard that first, I might not have done this review, but I'm not trying to blow anything out of proportion or whatever. Obviously it's always the music first, and we'll just leave it at that. So forming in 2022 and already having two full-length albums that seem to really come out of fucking nowhere, and already having many people talk about them, I just kind of had to see for myself what all the fuss was about. As I pretty much said, Blackbraid seemed to just hit the ground running with John, not being in any noteworthy bands or any at all that I know of from the research that I've done. The man is 33 years old, so surely he must have been in some bands at some fucking point. The Blackbraid lyrics are all based around nature, American history and culture, or Native American history and culture is what I meant to say, which I'm very interested in, I'd say, as an American, and I feel kind of drawn to it, though I'm not, Native myself. So just like the first Blackbraid album, this one was self-released. I imagine that album number 3 is going to be on whatever record label scoops up the band, because he's likely already receiving offers, I'd imagine. This album does have 2 session members, I should mention. Neil Schneider on drums, and Randy Moore contributing a guitar solo on track 8. Neil also engineered the album himself. This is a fairly lengthy album, clocking in at about 66 minutes with 10 tracks. So track 1, Autumnal Hearts Ablaze, is a 2-minute instrumental. It's a bit folky sounding, centering around an acoustic guitar with the sound of a campfire popping off in the background, giving me very much Agalloch or Velnias vibes. A bit predictable, albeit nice way to start the album. Track 2, The Spirit Returns. This song is a blasting, blazing fast with blast beats and a raging guitar riff, not to mention some nice double bass parts when the song drops down to a mid-pace. Halfway through the song, you get this triumphant, almost anthemic part before kicking back into blast beat territory. I'm actually really digging this drum performance so far, I gotta say. Overall, I'm still getting Agalloch vibes when they were at their fastest and most black metal oriented. Track 3, The Wolf That Guides the Hunter's Hand, starts with a wolf howling in the distance before the rolling double bass drums come in, and you get more of these, more of those triumphant sounding riffs that turn into lightning fast tremolo riffing. What I like about the album so far is how well it is written. All the tempo changes and stellar musicianship make this sound like something coming from a veteran songwriter. The ending winds down slowly and with a nice tapping guitar solo. If the rest of the album is this good, I'd say we'll have a pretty top-notch album here. Track 4, Spells of Moon and Earth, is another 2-minute instrumental with acoustic guitar and some sort of wind instrument that I wish I knew what it was. I'm not a musician myself, so I don't... I just know it's a wind instrument, whether it be a flute or something more Native American. I imagine it probably is. And this gives me Panopticon vibes, maybe something like from the Kentucky album. Track 5, Moss-Covered Bones on the Altar of the Moon, is the longest song here at 13 and a half minutes. It starts off with a driving, almost tribal-sounding drum beat, with that tremolo guitar riffing that I already call like a Blackbraid trademark. Vocals come in around the 2 minute mark, and just overall his vocals really remind me of John from Agalloch. Not a bad thing, and I'm not trying to dock points for lack of originality or anything like that. The atmospheric guitar parts, here have kind of an almost cathartic feel that I bet would make for a really amazing live experience. Just before the 6.5 minute mark, the wind instrument comes back in, and it just works so well. I'd actually welcome more folk instrumentation in Blackbraid's music. Around the 8 minute mark, blast beats come in as the tempo really picks up, and the last few minutes are at a slower tempo. Overall, it's a very epic track. Track 6, A Song of Death on Winds of Dawn, is another long song at over 11 minutes. It begins with epic dual guitar harmonies before going into the fastest part of the album so far. We're talking like Marduk speeds here for a little bit at least. Track 7, Celestial Passage, is the last of 3 instrumentals. This one's a bit different with the electric guitar added to the acoustic parts. And again, the wind instrumentation just, takes it to the top for me. The somberness works for me really well and just suits the album thematically. Track 8, Twilight Hymn of Ancient Blood, starts with some cool tribal drumming and some like death metal type vocals, which I didn't expect. It's a nice change of pace though, and it totally works. I like how Skagasawa makes an effort to have diversity in his songwriting. This is a 7 minute song, which is about average for Blackbraid, from what I've noticed. Oh, and there's more. At the 3 minute 50 second mark, we get thrash riffs that wouldn't really be out of place on like a Testament album, yet suited for a Blackbraid song. The 5 minute mark gives us a great guitar solo, and this is probably my favorite song on the album. Track 9, Sadness and the Passage of Time and Memory, starts with folky acoustic guitar and more of those death vocals from the last song. A bit more reverb on them here. It's a mid-paced, somber song with a nice acoustic breakdown in the middle before returning to the regular part of the song. Not the most variety on this one, but the atmosphere is good, and technically the song closes the album, so I'd say it does what it set out to do, and I'm already telling myself that we will meet again soon. And track 10 is a cover of A Fine Day to Die, which is one of the best Bathory songs. I'll admit I was expecting something closer to the original, kind of like what Emperor did, but this is done in a way that it actually sounds like a Blackbraid song. It's pretty cool. Well, my conclusion is that this is a very good album. As I said, I'll be listening again, even though it's not totally my cup of tea. All that said, I'm going to give Blackbraid II a 7.5 out of 10. Fans of bands like Agalloch and Nachachwen and Panopticon should check this out. I'm sure they'll definitely find something to enjoy here, and I'm eager to follow Blackbraid's trajectory from here. Even if I doubt I'll ever hit mega fan status, I'll be rooting for this band.